So, Dan, let's think about your friends in your world. So where do you actually start if you're going to talk about Easter and explaining Easter to your friends? Because that's what I want to know today. I've got people in my neighbourhood. Where would you actually start?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and appreciate the practical nature of it as well. So a lot of my friends that aren't Christians, or maybe are brand new to religious questions as a whole, I think I need to ask some diagnostic questions to see how familiar they are with what Christianity is and what's spelled out at the Easter story. So maybe things like, hey, how familiar are you with Easter? Or have you ever read one of the Gospels where it describes the suffering of Jesus, or the Easter story, Good Friday through to Resurrection Sunday? What do you think about the Easter story? These diagnostic questions at least help me know what level of familiarity do they have, what are maybe some of their barriers or hang-ups, do they really understand its meaning? And so that would be really my encouragement, is find these entry-level questions that first let you know, where is this person coming from? Maybe they had a religious upbringing, went to a Catholic school or a Christian school, maybe they had a grandma that brought them along to church, but it never really made sense. These diagnostic level questions help you figure that out before then focusing on what do I really want to say and why it's meaningful for me and why you can believe it's true.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So important to be able to listen to the people in our world and find out where they are actually at before we say anything. Really, that does need to inform our answers. So let's imagine then that you have a friend and I have a friend that says, oh yeah, I've heard about Easter. I know it's about the death of Jesus, but I don't really understand what is even the relevance of that. How would you respond in a simple way?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. And again, the very heart of the Christian story focuses in on this Easter tale. And so I would say that the kind of relevance of the Christian story as a whole, and of Easter in particular, is how God deals with evil and how he offers us hope. Because to be a Christian is to recognize that God's diagnosis of all of us is that we've been created for good, to have deep and meaningful relationships with God and others, but we've become damaged by evil. That none of us live up to the way of love that we were designed for, that all of us have hurt others with what we've thought or said or done, all the good things we've left undone. And so what Easter represents is God's reckoning with evil, where rather than choosing to hold us accountable for what we've done, instead he offered to condemn evil, but by absorbing our penalty, by substituting himself in our place. And so the death of Jesus, it's not just some historical accident. It's not just a brutal political execution. What the Christian story says is that it is an intentional act of atonement, where God works through his justice to be able to condemn evil by condemning Jesus, whilst we as the evildoers can be forgiven and made new through the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. And so these twin events of Jesus' death and resurrection, it's the costliness of evil. It's God's love for us, even though we commit it. It's God's suffering alongside us to show that he really does care and that he is there. And these themes then give way to this beautiful turning of the tides with the resurrection story, where not only do we know that Jesus was who he claimed to be, proved by his resurrection from the dead, but God shows us that even our greatest enemy, the terminal diagnosis of death that all of us have because of sin, even this can be overturned so that we can have eternal life with him.